Has your dating life been a total train wreck? Have you not been pulling the right girls? Then you must have these three traits to improve your dating life. The first trait is self love. Self love is the foundation. When you love and respect yourself, you set the bar of how people love and treat you. Self love helps you repel these toxic relationships that people have, and then it helps you attract the real and healthy relationships that you actually need. If you don't have self love, you'll be always seeking external validation to prove to yourself that you're worth something. In turn, seeking external validation is exhausting. While you seek the external validation, you attract the wrong people because these people only care about the superficial parts of you. Once you receive the external validation from that person, it's still unfulfilling. You won't feel satisfied. If you lack self love, I'm sure you're wondering, how do I increase self love? How do I give myself self love? And this starts with kindly talking to yourself because you can think about it like the way you talk to yourself, I'm sure you wouldn't talk the same way to other people. So, kind of talk to yourself the same way that you talk to other people. Be kind, be mindful, and have a perspective. Another thing you're going to have to self reflect on is what exactly you consume. So, you have to eat right, physically get right, but also consume the right content for yourself, like this video. So if you eat garbage, you don't exercise right, and you're consuming mindless content, you would lack self love because one, you're not taking care of your health, you're not consuming the right foods that heal, nurture your body, give you the right nutrients, and also you're not maximizing your physical potential. You're not working out, so your strength is weak, your cardiovascular health is weak, which all in turn makes your body dirty. Your body thinks that you don't love it because you're keeping it dirty. If you're not taking care of it, you won't feel loved. Another point is that, when you eat junk foods or even alcohol, your body becomes inflamed. Your cognitive function sucks and you won't feel good. But at least for one day or for a week, try this, okay? You eat well by eating lots of fruits, lots of veggies, lots of protein, that it's clean, it's not highly processed. You don't eat chips, you don't eat anything fried. Do that for a week or even for a day. See how you feel. And also work out at least 4 to 5 times a week. See how you feel. And you'll definitely feel the difference. You'll feel higher energy, body will feel very good. It's going to feel loved. Your self perception about yourself would be positive because you're doing all these right things for your body. You also feel good about yourself, feel good about the things that you're doing, and you know that you have positive benefits from these actions. So, love your body the right way, give it the right fuel that it needs, and maximize its potential. Plus, when you get older, you see all these people who have these health problems like obesity, high blood sugar, high cholesterol. If you do these healthy things, eating right, exercising, and maximizing your potential in these areas, you will thank yourself later when you're older because you'll decrease the likelihood of having these health problems later on. Because having self love is appreciating yourself, giving the things your body needs to have a healthy lifestyle, but also fostering its health for having a longer longevity so you can spend more time with your loved ones. And in a social perspective, people can see the differences that you do when you take care of yourself, especially the way you talk to yourself. If you love yourself, people like that. If you constantly have this negative aura around you because you keep telling yourself these negative things or believing these negative things about yourself, people don't want to be around that. So, example for women, right? They can sense, I guess it's part of self confidence, which I'll talk later on, but they can sense that you don't really see yourself on a higher tier than other people because you don't love yourself enough to bring yourself to the same level as other people because the actions that you do isn't putting you on the level of the other people. Because if you're just eating junk food, you're being unhealthy, you just play a bunch of video games, the things that you accomplish and the actions that you do don't match the higher tier people. So your self conscious will put you lower than other people, and people and women would notice. And when they see that, it's unattractive. So, first, have self love, do the things that you love, take care of your body, and maximize your potential. All right, the second point is accepting rejection. Instead of seeing rejection as a personal failure, see it as a redirection. Rejection is always prominent. It'll always occur, but you shouldn't be afraid of rejection. There's a high chance you'll be rejected, but you shouldn't be afraid of rejection. If someone says no, that's fine. It may hurt in that moment. You might feel embarrassed and it'll hurt because you feel like nobody wants you, but that's not really the case because that means that they just weren't the right person for you. So you can thank them for rejecting you because if they weren't the right person and they said yes, then you'll waste your time spending time with them, trying to convince them that you're the right person for them, or they're trying to convince you that they're the right person, which just wastes each other's times and becomes unproductive. A point I like to remember or try to tell myself whenever I'm applying to a job or talking to or networking to other people is that you'll be rejected a lot in life. So last summer, when I was trying to find a part time job or job in general, I had to go in person to these shops, these grocery stores, or even these restaurants. And I had to ask them if they had a job opening, what the hours are like, and see if they're actually looking for people. Unfortunately, they weren't. So every time I went to these stores, I got rejected. But I felt like that was a good thing because that has trained me to perceive rejection as a lesson. And what I learned is that, I live in a college town, so the demand or the supply of jobs is low because the only traffic or customers that people have are college students. So in the summer, college students are usually not there, so their foot traffic is very low, so they're not looking for other people. But being able to be rejected, but being able to also overcome these situations, you learn to have some sort of resilience, like not being afraid to get a no from other people, which in turn allows you to have a higher ability to take a risk, talk to that person, talk to the person that you like, etc. So for the example I gave you about my summer, that is one way to get over the fear of rejection. But if you want to talk to like women, if you want to find someone right for you, you can do the same thing. Just ask them for their number. But of course, have like a normal conversation with them first, and then ask for their number. And if they say no, whatever, move on to the next person. So you can practice it with them, or like I said in my example, like talk to managers, go in person to these stores or even to the job itself, ask if they're hiring, and ask them for a job. If it's like a corporate setting, then of course you're going to have to apply online or talk to a recruiter, which I've also dealt with like tons of rejections from corporate jobs like that. But apply to those. If you're rejected, oh well, it wasn't right for you. And another lesson you can learn from this is maybe you're lacking in a skill or lacking something in general. So if you get rejected from women, it could be your approach, the way you present yourself. And like with the points I go through this, you might be super nervous because you're afraid of getting rejected, or you're lacking the confidence or self love because they can see it. You're not confident enough in yourself. So they're like, oh, this person's not confident enough. They're not doing the actions that will take them to the thing that they want. They lack purpose, they lack drive, which makes them unattractive, right? It's good to overcome the fear of rejection, but also being able to learn from it and finding certain things that you can practice to make yourself a better candidate, which also ties in with confidence, which is in my third point. So my third point is confidence. Believe that you are confident, because when you do, you are. If you have no confidence, anybody can see it. Everybody can see that you don't believe in yourself. The things that you do, you're not confident enough. So they can see it in the way you speak, the way you present yourself, like body language, gestures. These are all easy indicators of how nervous you are and how confident you are. Because the more nervous you are, usually that's because you lack confidence. Since I'm tying this with dating, women can easily tell if you have confidence in yourself. So let me go through certain actions or habits that make you unconfident, and I'll give you some recommendations that you can do to increase your confidence. So the actions or habits that make you look and be unconfident or have no confidence at all is glorifying women or glorifying anybody. Basically, putting people on a pedestal, making them think and making yourself believe that they are on a higher tier, that they're better than you, and that you should just submit to them. Usually, this type of behavior, which You could call it simp behavior, but this type of behavior usually starts from consuming social media, which if you want to be more specific, looking at these models on social media. And when you keep seeing these people, gain a bunch of likes, attention, you feel like you want to give them the attention too. So you might like the post, you might comment, and this type of action makes you put them on a pedestal because you see them as some high class influencer who's attractive and you want their attention. In order to get their attention, you have to give your attention to them. And in a way, it makes you seem and feel like you can't attain them because they're on a higher class, because they're influencers, which in turn, this mindset allows you to view women, at least, to be on a higher pedestal than yourself, which is a negative thing. And to overcome this type of mindset is to unfollow or block or even put not interested in this type of content on social media. One, you're not benefiting anything from this type of content. And two, this would allow you to kind of focus on content that actually adds value to your life, like advice on how to learn, how to grow, how to lift, gym, or make more money. Another point is the way you sexualize women and your sexualized brain. So this kind of ties in with the first point with viewing women on social media. Because since you view these women on social media, you kind of have this barrier of one, you put them on a pedestal, but two, you don't feel like you can attain these type of women because they're on social media, they're in a higher class, so you feel like you're on a lower class than them, and you don't feel like you have the confidence to get them, to attract them, or to date them. But also with these influencers, right? They're like half naked, and you kind of sexualize women and sexualize your brain. So whenever you see or talk to women in general in person, you get nervous and you have these certain thoughts because your brain is just highly sexualized. And this isn't your fault because you've just consumed social media that you and society has seemed to be normal. And of course, we can blame society, but as a man, you should accept that it is your fault because you have control over your feed by blocking these accounts and selecting uninterested to avoid these type of content. But it's also a negative thing to sexualize women, right? Because all you think about is them only bringing sexual things to the table. And this is kind of tied in with the player mindset because all they want is, one thing. So it's not really benefiting you because you just are highly nervous. You actually don't know what you want from them besides just that, which is very superficial and obscured, but it's just a negative thing to do. I don't want to get off topic about how to desexualize your brain, but I'll definitely make a video if you guys are interested in learning how to do so. But to sum up how to desexualize your brain is it may sound silly, but they're just normal human beings who just have different body parts. Once you see them as normal people, you'll understand that there's nothing to glorify them about. Another habit or action that would make you seem unconfident or lack confidence when you approach people, when you approach women, right? Is if you end on a high pitch or you stutter. If you want to overcome the way you talk and your ability to prevent stuttering. Now, I kind of struggle with this myself because I haven't really talked a lot when I was a kid. So I kind of lack my tonality and the way I present information, especially in discussions. Because my ability to bring up topics in my head and talk about them and explain all these topics clearly without stuttering or have a poor tonality, I definitely need a lot more practice on. And the way I've tried to practice is, making these videos, try to go to events that I can maybe possibly meet new people to have these new conversations I haven't planned out, like a video, because videos I make are scripted. And also, practice if there's an opportunity for me to practice public speaking, I would. Of course, you may slip up, you might stutter, you might kind of have a voice crack, but those happen as long as you don't dwell on it and kind of dwell on that mistake, which makes you more nervous and makes it more happen because you're thinking about it Because if you're thinking about something, especially like an action or something that you're trying to prevent, it will happen. It's part of the mindset. It's kind of like when there's six blue cars and one red car passing by, but if you only focus on the red car, you only see the red car. And in the end, someone asks you how many blue cars were there, you'd be like, I don't know, I only saw one red car. It's kind of that mindset. But a key part of speaking confidently is believing in what you're saying rather than making everything sound like a question. For example, when you introduce yourself, listen to these differences. Hi, my name is Kensei. Hi, my name is Kensei. The way that you end on the tonality, if you have a higher pitch, you make it sound like a question. And questions sound unconfident because you're not certain, especially when you're trying to introduce yourself. It's not a question, you're just giving a statement. So listen back to these differences if you want. Just know if you want to sound confident in what you're saying, end on a low tone. But if you've lacked talking a lot like me, I I can definitely feel my voice is straining right now, but just practice, 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 and at some point you'll learn how to keep your tone in a lower lower depth, and it's just going to be a skill that you're going to have to practice frequently. Eye contact is also a great skill to have, whether you're trying to attract someone or kind of gain trust with somebody. So if you want to seem that you don't have confidence in yourself, especially during a conversation, you would give them no eye contact. You'd be like looking around, looking down, kind of making yourself seem like you don't have confidence, especially when you speak. Right, when you're listening, you kind of could like look around a little bit, but if you're speaking, you don't want to be like looking down, not giving them any attention because they just feel like you just seem so nervous and so unconfident in yourself. So when you have a conversation, I'll look straight into their eyes. And if this makes you nervous, just look at their forehead or look in between their eyes. A way I practice giving people eye contact, because apparently people tell me that's something I'm good at. It may seem a little weird, right? I just what I do is whenever I'm walking, through the halls or outside and I pass someone, I just stare at them. I look at their eyes and I look at them straight in their eyes while I pass them by. Sometimes they look, sometimes they don't, but there's like this awkward moment. There's this awkward tension that you have once they lock in with your eyes, right? And that's what I'm looking for, right? I'm seeing how long can I last this uncomfortable moment before I start to look away. And it's kind of a game, like you're trying to look at them, stare at them until they're the ones who look away. But you'll have this uncomfortable moment. And that uncomfortable moment is the key part because if you can't last long at looking at someone's eyes, especially during a conversation because you feel so awkward or nervous when you do so, you won't have any confidence because you can't last that long, right? So that's why I like to look at strangers in the eyes because I want to increase that threshold. So when I have conversations or very long conversations with people, then I can just look at them in the eyes, whether they're speaking or I'm talking to them. It won't seem like don't have any confidence. Another way you can practice this is just working another job like front desk or even a restaurant job. A restaurant job is a very good option. Go to Trist if you're in Massachusetts. It's a great restaurant. It's the one I worked at, but restaurant jobs are a great option because you're going to have to speak to the guests directly because when you take orders or give them their food, even as a host, you're going to have to talk to these people in general, right? It's like a customer service. You're going to have to talk to new people because these are the people you're giving service to. So you're going to have to talk to them, and if you want them to feel comfortable and gain a trust from you, you're going to have to give them eye contact. So being in a job that you have to have eye contact in helps you practice having eye contact because if you want to provide them a great service, you're going to have to make them feel very comfortable in the restaurant. And plus, people wouldn't really like a server who doesn't give them eye contact because you just seem so unconfident in the situation and you're just not able to gain trust from them. if you don't have the option to work at a restaurant because it takes more time, or if you already have a job, then do the hallway method that I do. The last habit and action that you do that is making you unconfident is video games. If you're playing video games all day, you're not working, or you play video games after you work and you're not socializing with other people, you kind of gain this sense of solitude, but you lose the ability to be in social settings, right? Kind of lose your social cues, and you also, especially during COVID, right? You have these days where you don't talk to people, or you haven't talked to people in a while, and if you're not like super super duper crazy, right? You you haven't spoken, because if you're alone, sometimes you speak to yourself. If you're like really crazy, you would be talking to yourself all the time. Well, what I'm trying to say is you just haven't spoken in a while. So when you're playing video games, you you aren't in social settings where you can have an actual human to human interaction in person, because you're just locked up in your room playing something that actually isn't even adding value to your life. Because with that time, you could be building your body, starting a business, or working on a project. And with video games, it's taking your time away from building confidence by talking to other people, but also distracting you from doing things or actions that help you have confidence, because confidence comes from actions. And if you don't do any actions, you won't have any confidence, because there is no proof, because there's no action, there's no achievements that you have. And like I said before, women like driven men, because being driven will emit confidence, because you're already confident in the work that you do and the things that you're pursuing. So ditch video games and pursue a goal with purpose. I hope you find this video useful. If you are seeking motivation but you can't find it, this video right here is perfect for you.